Alright, so just to reiterate, we're trying something new today. I want to do something that I feel like will transfer really well to short form content, but I want to make a traditional video out of it as well. So today we're going to be taking every character for certain elements, and we're going to be ranking them by how useful I think they are in a vacuum. But yeah, so I'm going to be ranking them basically on how useful I think they are for every element, and that's about it. So we're going to probably do that with at least 3 of these elements today. I don't think these ideas are going to take that long, but also, again, we're really playing this by ear because this is something I've literally never done. Alright. So, first off, we are going to start with ranking the wind characters. So, there is 7 of them currently in the game. I've already had my whole rant about Bronya. I don't understand why she's a wind character, but hey, oh well, I guess. So, we're going to start with Dan Heng. Yeah. Dan Heng kinda sucks.
I heard you were talking shit about me.
The problem with Dan Heng mainly is the fact that he just does not. Dan Heng just does not provide enough of anything that you would traditionally need. And I do love that I'm saying this after I just saw a dude zero cycle with base Dan Heng and then Imbibitor Lune on different teams. One person is not changing the fact that Dan Heng is exceedingly mid. It's also the fact that one of his main things is that he's going to apply a slow, which also is just not great. Like, once again, getting E6 is always helpful, but I really don't think any of his Eidolons really add anything that impactful as well. I don't know if I want to rank him at the bottom of the list. I'm trying to, because I can always switch this later. Yeah, no, honestly, yeah, Dan Heng is going straight to 7. Dan Heng is not gonna go. Dan Heng is not that good. There's really no reason to use him. Especially if you have a blade, or if you're running, because to be fair, the only team comp he's really gonna work in is a crit comp, so the traditional damage comp, and there are just so much better options. I can't see any scenario where he's gonna be that helpful, unfortunately. So next up is Sampo, and yeah, I'm gonna be honest, we are ranking Sampo at 6. He's not bad. Like, he's not awful, but also, there is literally a better wind nihility. So if you have Black Swan, why would you, what is the purpose of using Sampo? I gotta be honest. If you don't have Black Swan, he's honestly not bad. He does pretty good. But Black Swan is just a superior character in every sense. So I'm just like, okay, you're better than Dan Heng at least. You get your usefulness by being better than Dan Heng. Great job, Sampo. Alright, next up is Bronya. So I think I'm gonna rank Bronya at 4. Bronya is really good. My one... 3 or 2 or 4, okay? I'm so sorry.
Utter one more word, and no dragon alive will be able to fix what I do to you.
So my thing with Bronya is the fact that Bronya is really good. She is very, very unfriendly to skill points, but that's fine. She provides an amazing buff. She gets you back into the action, crit damage buff, blah, 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 great ultimate. She's good. The one thing is that in my opinion, there are 3 characters that are just objectively better. By a healthy bit. Bronya enables a lot of good team comps, and I'm not going to take that away from her. But also, in my opinion, I do just think that some of the other characters are just going to be more impactful. Or it's the fact that they are also the building blocks of their team, while also having either a more universally helpful kit, or just being a bit better at their specific job. Okay, so yeah, I think Bronya is gonna sit at 4 for now. So I feel like almost everyone can agree what the top 4 of Wind is. So we're gonna skip to Blade. Blade is at 5. Blade isn't bad, and he was the best wind damage dealer for a very long time because he was basically the only good wind damage dealer. As a solo DPS, Blade does not really stack up to... Not Blade from the Discord messaging me, you're really ranking me at 5, that's crazy. But Blade just does not hold up as much in current day. And I feel you're going to see that if we do another one of these. You're going to see that this is kind of how my mentality is that I'm not going to rank Zila very highly because I don't think Zila is that good nowadays. Zila and Blade and like Jing Yuan, those characters who were very early on, just simply do not hold up anymore with the new characters that we are getting, like Fei Xiao, Acheron, Firefly. These are all incredibly powerful characters, and then you put them next to Zila or Blade, and it just does not stack up. Yeah, yeah, it is 100% a case of just pure power creep. That's life, and unfortunately, Blade is a suspect to it, because we got Jing Liu, who, to be fair, Blade and Jing Liu pair together perfectly. My problem is that once again means that Blade is not the primary DPS, so now we get to Blade being a sub DPS, but also that team of Jing Liu Blade is also still not even, like, that incredible. That team is good, you can make it really good, but it's not amazing, and that's the problem we run into with Blade. He's good, he's pretty fun, and he has a very nice mechanic. It's pretty interesting to use, but yeah, he's not as good as I think the characters above him. So now we run into the problem with the big 3 of Wind. So I do think absolutely the 3 best Wind characters are Fei Xiao, Black Swan, and Hua Hua. Right now, in this moment, I'm probably going to say that Black Swan is 3rd. Black Swan has really good utility, and obviously she's primarily used in the Nihility comps with either Kafka or Acheron, but that's still really good because she is a pivotal part of very, very good team comps. But DOT just not being as powerful as it used to be, like the Kafka Black Swan Ron Mei team or whatever, that has been doing well, but it's no longer the dominant force because of all the new characters that have been added, especially with Break and Follow-Up becoming the more popular form of team and the better form of team currently. DOT is just kind of dropping off a little bit. I think Black Swan is still an incredible character, and if you want any good DOT team, I think she is absolutely essential. But yeah, I think the other 2 characters are just a bit better. So now we get to 2 and 1. I think this kind of comes down to what you value more. Because the thing is, though, is that when you look at like one of the ranking sites like Predwin or whatever, Predwin has Hua Hua as, I believe, the best character for all 3 game modes. Like a tier 0 character for all 3 game modes. We aren't considering light cone into the equation, right? Probably not. Because light cones, it's amazing how drastically light cones can change character performance. I feel like it's better to just look at the character as an individual and then assuming you can put just the best available on them. Like the best available free light cone in the game. Because definitely, like, Acheron light cone or something like that, or Fei Xiao light cone is so good. It's so good. So those ones are a bit hard. I feel like it's really hard to factor those in. Like, I'm gonna swipe over here just to like kind of show what I'm talking about. Is that, so look at Hua Hua. So we have tier 0 sustain for Memory of Chaos. Tier 0.5 sustain for pure fiction, and then tier 0.5 for apocalyptic shadow. So obviously, really, really good across the board. And then we look at Fei Xiao, who is tier 0 in apocalyptic shadow and memory of chaos, and then a bit worse in pure fiction, but also solo target in pure fiction. Like, if you're using a single target in pure fiction, that's kind of on you. And even then, I've used her in pure fiction. She's actually not that bad even. But the point stands is that pure fiction is made for different types of characters, so it'd be like that. It's a bit hard just because wooooo is probably more universally helpful, because I think having a good sustain is always going to be extremely important to your team comp if you already have your solid DPS. Because at a certain point, having a great DPS, but then just bad sustain can be really annoying, considering sustains, if you have older sustain characters, all they do is heal, and that's worthless. That's literally useless. Whereas wooooo gives energy regen and an attack buff, and she will keep your characters alive, which is exactly what you need. It's difficult. I'm kind of leaning wooooo at 1, because I think the biggest thing is that Fei Xiao is purely a follow-up character. Whereas wooooo can be used with other types of teams. Like, her most prevalent one was one of the, it was like a DOT team a while back, and then she kind of just gets used everywhere now. She's kind of like what Fu Xuan used to be, is just if you have wooooo, just plug and play. Will work in any team comp except for like an Acheron team comp or a Fei Xiao team comp, because you can't recharge their energy. But other than that, any sort of crit damage team you're running, DOT, or even other freaking follow-up teams, you can run wooooo with absolutely no regrets, and it'll work out for you. So, while I do think Fei Xiao is an amazing damage dealer, the one thing is that there are other alternatives to her in the game, with characters like Ratio, like Topaz. You can also run like Moz and March. You have quite a few options, and yeah, I just think we're gonna see this a lot. I really value the good sustains just because of how universally plug and play they are. That's kind of the most important thing to me. Yeah, that's about it. So, our final list we're gonna end with here is Dan Heng at 7, Sampo at 6, Blade at 5, Bronya at 4, Black Swan at 3, Fei Xiao at 2, and wooooo at 1. I think that's pretty solid. Like, I don't really have... I imagine that some people are probably, like, they would probably pick Fei Xiao over wooooo, and I completely understand that. I think the first 2 slots are completely interchangeable, and I think Black Swan is a very, very solid third. I can see the argument for Bronya, but I do think Black Swan is just probably a little bit better. I think that's my opinion.